successful completion of 50 years. And obviously, in more recent years, we see significant contribution of ICAB in developing DBS and others, so that I really want to congratulate. And before I go to the presentation, I just want to share a personal story that, my father wanted me to be an engineer. My mother wanted me to be a chartered accountant. I could not do either because I was getting married to my ex-girlfriend. Before you spread any rumor, my ex-girlfriend is now my wife. So she, we had to get married very quickly. So we took a shortcut and did my MBA, and then I went into a job in Standard Chartered Bank. 30 years back, it's been 30 long years in the bank, but I'm still happy doing it. Now, I will not really go into line by line on the presentation. I'll just try to cover the overarching themes. So the presentation actually is covered in 5 segments. One is about the 4 pillar of Smart Bangladesh. I won't elaborate because there has been a lot of discussion on that. Then the $1 trillion journey for Bangladesh, which is very important. And thirdly, it will be about the drivers, and fourthly, enablers, and then what are the role that we expect an accountant to play in this journey. Now, so again, I am not going to elaborate on this. There are 4 pillars we all know. These are smart government, smart citizen, smart economy, and smart society. We were discussing before the event started that having a smart government is probably at the center, because that is the driver. It often forces everyone. Private sector can really become smart, but if the enablers or the regulation is not conducive, then what happens, it creates an uneven playing ground. Therefore, it's important for the government to be very, very smart. And then things will obviously follow. So I will not elaborate, because their earlier session, 2 hours, we actually heard a lot about Smart Bangladesh. Now, if we move to the journey, because that is the main topic of today, to this session, if I may ask all of you, how many of you believe that Bangladesh can be a $1 trillion economy? First question. Can you raise your hand as yes? Yeah? Not very compelling, but it's still some optimists, some are not. But by when? If I may ask, when do you think it's going to be a $1 trillion economy? Yeah, why is it so? So let me just, if you look at the numbers, 461 billion is already what we have achieved for Bangladesh, and it's growing at 7.2%. Per capita income is $2.7 thousand per person. 170 million population, 28 years of average age. This is the landscape now we have. Now, if you actually look at the 7.2% growth rate, or maybe it's a 7% growth, it is 5% inflation, the nominal growth will be 12. And if you really compound it, it actually will become a $1 trillion country by 2030 without, with the current pace. But is that a fair assessment, that things will remain as it is and we will continue to achieve 7% growth? It won't, because world has never been changing faster in the past, and it will never be changing slower in the future, which means we have to change significantly to achieve the potential of the country. Now, there are a lot of positives. There are reasons why we believe this journey is very much possible, and the reason being, so far the growth drivers for the country has been export, home remittances, and at the same time the large domestic economy, right? Now, on the export side, while the country has 52 billion, looking at 57 billion dollars this year, but it's still significantly skewed 82-83% for garments, which means there potential for diversification. And good news is, for the first time last year, 4 sectors crossed $1 billion. Small, but it's a step in the right direction. Secondly, within the garments, there 80% of the exports goes to 2 markets, Europe and Americas, which means there's an opportunity for diversification there, geographic. Third, the product category. There are only 5 categories of product which account for 73% of the garments export. And when the market has moved towards man-made fabric, we are still 100% cotton-based product. So which means that there's significant opportunity for the country to diversify from existing garments as well as other product segment. So that's one. Home remittances. 98% of home remittances come from blue-collar workers. So if we have investments, or capital market, developed capital market, then the white-collar workers will also start remitting money in the country. So opportunity needs to be created. So we talked about the financial market. This is one area we need to work on. Within the 98%, 95% are unskilled, because there is. But government has taken an initiative to provide certificate of prior learning, which will help them to move into semi-skilled worker, and probably remittance will come up. Why am I saying this? Philippines, with 50% of the population diaspora, are earning double than what Bangladesh is doing. So there is significant opportunity for Bangladesh to get that. Now, in the domestic economy we talked about is another driver. These still are going to be significant. What does the report say? The report says that Bangladesh will be the 9th largest consumer economy in 2030. And why am I saying this? Let me share a story of an investor in electronics industry. Back in 2015, when I came back, I realized that one multinational is setting up a contract manufacturer in Bangladesh. At that point of time, I knew that same company has a large setup in Vietnam, because I used to live in Vietnam before moving to Bangladesh. In that sector, when they're starting investing into this electronics industry, I said, what motivated you to invest in Bangladesh, since you already have a setup in Vietnam? He said that in their assessment, when a country reaches $2,000 per capita income, it actually is an inflection point for consumer economy. Now, at that point of time, the GDP was $1,360. Bangladesh crossed $2,000 in 2020. And that company is sitting on $500 million turnover now, and the runway is still long for the country. So that tells you that actually this opportunity is significant there. Currently, I don't know, many of you do recognize, Bangladesh will become $500 billion economy in next 12 months' time, 12 to 18 months' time. That makes Bangladesh bigger than Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines. What does it tell you? Actually, the opportunities are significantly there. And once the opportunities are there and the environment is conducive for investment, obviously there will be significant snowball effect, and we'll see significant growth. And next, $500 billion should not be a problem, as long as we are committed to do the reform. And by 2025, medium and affluent class will be 35 million. What does it mean? It is actually going to be bigger than entire population of Malaysia. So that's the prize that we have as far as the economy is concerned. Digitization. I know Matabai mentioned about 60% penetration of internet. True. But I think the platform is there, so it can actually significantly leverage from what it is today. So we can definitely expect significant growth. There are 160 odd million people having access to mobile phone now. China plus one is obviously one advantage. When we talk to any investor nowadays, we see their top of the agenda is actually the geopolitical situation. And there, Bangladesh is probably well placed to take the advantage of geopolitical tension and divert a lot of investments from China, provided, I'm repeatedly saying provided, because unless we really do get our acts in terms of getting the investment climate right, we will lose this opportunity, and these opportunities will not come knocking our door every time. So next point is actually about the value addition industries in future. Obviously, the basic industries such as education and healthcare remains extremely critical, where we need private-public partnership to develop. Apart from that, on the commercial side, obviously, IT outsourcing is a significant opportunity. IT outsourcing, we are sitting on second largest pool of freelancers. We have seen 36% year-on growth in terms of IT export, and that probably is not the whole picture, because currently we see $600 million of export income in ICT sector, but real numbers is apparently more than $1 billion, because a lot of monies are still not coming in the country. So we need to incentivize to ensure these proceeds do end up in the country. And there, I think the pioneers of the world and PayPals of the world needs to be actually in the country so that they can remit the fund over here. Light engineering, 578,000 registered vehicles, which means this industry will grow. There's a place called, Uttar APZ, which is at the Nilphamari. They're an exporter, exporting wigs, having 14,000 workers, and on that factory, there are 2,000 bikes, all driven by women. So that clearly shows the opportunities not only in the center of the country, not in the cities, it's also in the rural areas. So that is where I think light engineering is going to really create significant opportunities. Agro-processing and FMCG. Agro-processing is significantly important, while the importance of agriculture, while the contribution of agriculture in GDP may have come down from 17 to 13%, but the importance hasn't gone down because 40% of the employment generation takes place in agriculture. And if you remember, the reason we have fared pandemic and the Ukraine war better than many other countries because of the agriculture, because of the self-sufficiency in the agriculture product. So that's why we need to see how we can leverage that to next level by adding value and doing the agro-processing in the country. Financial services, it still accounts for around 3% of GDP. In any other emerging markets or mid countries like Malaysia and others, it's 7-8%. And think about insurance. Insurance penetration is 0.5%. Now, bank insurance is something, it is on the horizon. If it comes true, it will increase because in India alone, 52% insurance, life insurance sale happens through bank assurance. So there are significant opportunities to get the people, get our citizens within the net and within the coverage of insurance. So that's another market. But that will require that will also propel development of capital market, because capital market requires long-term investors like life insurance, pension holders, and pension funds and others. So these will also be an enabler for the country to go into the next level. And so there are opportunities to do that. Now, sustainability is the other point, because if you look at, we did a review or a survey of 500 international brands. They said if they'll start removing suppliers from their supply chain if they're not invested in that net zero transition. And that will not happen in the distant future, it will be happening in 2025. So there is significant requirement for us to invest in sustainability. IFC did a study and shows that there's $132 billion opportunity in this particular area. So that clearly shows that this is going to be a significant growth area for the country. While Bangladesh may have contributed 0.35, but we are one of the largest or most vulnerable countries in the world for the climate change. Therefore, I think this is for the interest of our own citizens and to be relevant in the future for the exporters, for the international brands, we need to really invest in this sector. So risk management and investor value and regulatory compliance, all these perspectives, ESG plays a role, and that's where I think accountants have a significant role to play. So clearly we need to have a very, very clear sustainability agenda and the transition plan through which we can actually take the country to next level and remain sustainable. Now, some of the points I will highlight, I'm not going to cover line by line here. This is about what will help us to actually become competitive to attract investment and then achieve the $1 trillion journey. So ease of doing business sits at the center. 167 out of 189 speaks volume about the experience our investors are having at the while setting up businesses and operating in the country. Now, there is a clear commitment from at the top. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister herself wanted this to be brought down to double digit, to 99. And I think at the senior level, seniors in PMO's office and others, they are very much committed. It's about the execution. When it goes down to the field level, the experiences of our investors have been very, very different. This is where we need to really, really focus on and improve our investor experience. Think about it. If the country has done so well in the last 15 years, with being 167th, what would it do if we can bring it to 99? This means that if we can improve the ease of doing business, the opportunity will be significantly higher. So I think the issue is about ease of doing business. Regulatory intervention needs to be very, very client-friendly. And the digitization. I think the biggest challenge we see or hear from the investors is actually about the unpredictability of policy. And those are actually at the fiscal policy-related issues, where National Board of Revenue needs to really, really change their game. We do recognize the challenges they have. They have ambitious plans to support the country. But at the same time, it cannot be done with such a narrow base of 7 to 8% tax GDP ratio. Therefore, it needs to broaden the tax base, tax collector base. And when you have 9 million tax identification numbers and only 2.5, 2.6 million submits return, that speaks volume that how much you can increase the tax collection. So that's where we need to simplify, digitize, and reduce discretion. So these are the things which needs to happen to ensure that we make the client experience favorable. Now, I think a few points over here about the logistics, the sectors where we can see the drivers of growth: logistics, digital connectivity, capital markets, and human capacity. So, I mean, I think we have covered it, and all of these are actually aligned to Smart Bangladesh. I've already shown on the right-hand side the pillars which are going to be impacted by this. Next is about the role of chartered accountant. I mean, when I started banking, and I thought that the chartered accountants are accountants purely, and they are more into ensuring books are properly kept. But when I see Jwadar, I see a person who is not only ensuring the compliance of the bookkeeping, but also being strategic. And what I think Kamal Kadir mentioned about the client centricity. I've seen him taking position to go and speak to regulators, clients, to get things done. So this is what the new generation of chartered accountants are expected to deliver, because this is going to make significant difference, because you're not only the kind of a gatekeeper, but also an enabler. So this is going to give significant confidence of the industry. And going back to the point I started with DVS, this is a significant contribution that you have. This ensures, I think it's a journey. It's something that we are yet to get the full benefit, but definitely a step in the right direction for us to deliver. These growth can only sustain when the governance people have confidence in the governance. And that is where chartered accountants play a significant role. So I will not really elaborate. I think we'll obviously have time to have a Q&A session, and that will be more interesting to understand the thoughts on your mind and the questions that we should be able to respond. But I will end with saying that, Chartered ICAB has a significant role to play, because when a chamber goes to the regulators, they go as a business community, right? And there is a lack of trust between the government and the private sector. And that's where you could create a bridge, because you are the professionals' knowledge, bring in knowledge, and can ensure that whatever is being told has been validated and really makes sense. So once again, I congratulate 2,000 of the members of ICAB for the wonderful work. But future with DVS and all these requirement of having financial statement, 2,000 is far less. We need significant multiplication of chartered accountants who will be client-centric and more strategic. Thank you so much.
Nasir has finished his talk. I will say that, like his last name, Bijoy, is really addressing the chartered accountant what the community expect to achieve the trillion-dollar journey of the economy. And Mr. Nasir has rightly pointed out what is expected from the government and what is needed to be done as a community member, also as a professional member. Thank you, Mr. Bijoy, for your nice presentation. and rightly, I will see, placed before our audience what you expect from our audience. Now I am very happy to place before you, dear fellow chartered accountant, one of you. But when I say one of you, but still he is distinguishable because he is coming from a business house. He is already established. No, thank you. Dear fellow members, we have already in amongst us the chief guest of today's our last session, our state minister for planning. Sir, he is already amongst us. May I request our CEO and the president to kindly accompany him to the dais, please. Mr. Subhashish, please accompany our chief guest to the dais. Mr. President, please come to the dais. No, yes, there is. Please don't. It's okay. Sir, please join us in the dais. So what I was saying that introducing, please. So thank you for joining us because you have traveled a lot from Oh. Okay. So the chair. We have amongst us also our today's special guest, the principal coordinator of SDG. May I request him also kindly to join us. Please. Thank you. President, please kindly join now. I'm not chair. RK. They are already there. Okay. Now, sorry, may I now request our second, the keynote speaker on the $1 trillion journey of Bangladesh economy, Mr. Ali Hussain Akbar Ali. He is a chartered accountant, he is an established industrialist, and more so, many of my fellow colleagues, as a chartered accountant, we feel proud of him, and he is an inspiration to our young generation. Because not as a successful industrialist, he has already recognized as CIP. As you know, to become CIP, it is not that you have to become the one of the largest exporter or whatever. Government screening, all the agencies they screen as whether he has any loan defaulter or tax credibility and everything. His family, and he is one of them. As a family, he has been recognized by the National Board of Revenue as a Kor Bahadur. So he is not an inspiration. He is proud of us, and sir, you have made us proud as a community, as a chartered accountant. Now, may I request you to please share your thought on the $1 trillion journey of Bangladesh by 2041.
I just started my time to finish in 10 minutes.
You are allotted for 15, but I will be happy if you can finish by 10 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and greetings to you all. It is really my pleasure to address this esteemed gathering on the topic of Smart Bangladesh achieving $1 trillion economy. I would like to thank the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh for inviting me as a keynote speaker. I do not have any prior experience, and probably this is the first time in my life that I am asked to present a keynote presentation and to attend a panel session. However, I'll attempt to do justice with my little knowledge in such works, and I hope my deliberations are of value to our policy makers. Since I will not speak on figures like my good friend Nasir Bhai has done, because generally I am normally busy with doing business and development and improvement the country's development. So I will just, my speech was very long, so you can always read it in the publication that ICB has given. So I would like to just give a brief synopsis of what I want to say tonight. I think this the number of be a smart Bangladesh, I think that number should be also for smart bureaucracy, smart development partners within the government. So digital, we have really progressed in a big way, and I just fail to see that digitalization is such a vast subject where Bangladesh couldn't digitalize their income tax, VAT, customs together for so many years. I feel digitalization is very, very important, and land documentation digitalization is so very important. So these things also, we should, I think this is one of the major point where we need to concentrate on. Bangladesh has 60% youth of 28 years and below out of 168 million people. Then Bangladesh GDP growth, if you see, in 2018 was 7.32, 2019 it was 7.88, 2020 it was 3.45. Of course, 2020 was the pandemic year, which stunted the economic growth. However, Bangladesh was far better than the global rate in 2020, which was then negative for the world at 3.21. In 2021, we registered a growth rate of 6.94, which was registered as the second highest GDP growth rate in South Asia, behind Maldives. According to BBS, the future GDP growth rate stands for Bangladesh in 2022 7.25, 2023 7.5, 2024 7.8, and 2024 8%. As a direct consequence of the economic growth, the GDP per capita income of 1963 in 2018 has rose all the way to 2458 in 2021. Even IMF projections for Bangladesh is 5.5, 6.5 and 7.1% for 2023, 24 and 25. This shows that Bangladesh has really gained strength in her economy thanks to the brave leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, who is really working round the clock and not looking back and moving forward. And the evidence of this is that in 2008 we were only producing and selling 100,000 tons of steel, and last year we sold 1.65 million tons of steel, just BSRM group. So you can imagine the amount of progress Bangladesh is. We are now poised to really take off, but to take off, we really have to see the government has to really improve the capacity building of their offices. And we see that, just like Nasir Bhai just said, imagine with so much, with our ease of doing business at 165 out of 190 or something, and we have done so good. Imagine where would we be if we improve our way of doing ease of doing business. So I'm just highlighting some points which I thought that I should highlight. maybe Mr. Shamsul Alam Sahib is here, and he's one of the most dynamic persons I've heard of in the planning ministry. He was I don't remember where he was, but I've heard a lot about him, and good thing he is here, that every project that we do in our country, it is never done on time. Always there are escalations, and always there are changes of project directors frequently. Not one project has got one project director who finishes that project. Like Chittagong-Dhaka highway, it finished it off in 5 to 7 years, and we had 5 to 6 project directors. So believe me, it is not possible for one project director to come for 1 year and then the next one to pick up the leads. By the time the second one comes, it is time for him to go. Because it's so difficult to understand a project. If my son is not there and I bring another CEO in that place, it will not be easy for him to take over this organization so easily. So this is just a suggestion that we need to do capacity building of our bureaucracy in our country, so that escalation and timely completion of projects is there. Imagine billions of dollars of foreign aid is in the pipeline. If we have the right people, these foreign aids can be liquefied in employment, in power utilization, in road utilization. We are spending billions on road development, but with the underground tunnel, all this utilization of the Padma Bridge can really multiply if we have real growth with these foreign aided projects. Billions of dollars worth of projects are lying unutilized because we don't have the capacity to do it. Then, there are some points where I would really like to highlight, which maybe in my time, with a limited time, that is the infrastructure. I don't think I'll be able to finish 1/10 of my speech. So infrastructure, we first heard that the government is going to build an elevated expressway from Chittagong to Dhaka. Then we find that no, it has been shelved. Then it followed with a bullet train between Dhaka and Chittagong. Then luckily that bullet train was also shelved. And now few days ago we hear 8-lane road between Dhaka and Chittagong. I think, sir, it will be a major disaster if we go with 8-lane road in the present circumstances. We are going to use our agricultural land to build this 8-lane road. We are going to cut hills to fill up the sand for expansion of these roads. We are going to either cut the hills or use the agricultural sand and make ponds in our agricultural fields. And not only that, even if the road is built, will we be able to drive our truck faster to Dhaka? Definitely not. This road is not an highway, it's a road, it's a main road where baby taxis go, people cross the streets, and there are haats and bazaars many times on the road. And as somebody said in the morning, the average speed of the truck is 20 kilometers or 21 kilometers per hour. Imagine the average speed of the transport on this Dhaka-Chittagong highway is only 20 kilometers. My suggestion is that we should immediately go for an elevated expressway, have a bond issued, international bond that Standard Chartered, HSBC are willing to issue a bond on sovereign guarantee, link that bond with the income of this elevated expressway, and 35 tons, if we can ply the trucks of 35 tons, these highways, even if it is extended, it will not carry more than 22 tons. With 35 tons, we have less number of trucks, less number of drivers, savings in fuel, pollution savings, and huge benefit. Even only BSRM will save 70 crores a year only on transport cost if the elevated expressway is there. So I think government should really look up this, and then I think Another thing is also, I've already crossed 10 minutes. So another major suggestion to the government would be from this platform, from ICB, is that government should immediately set a very good policy for buying the power from the solar power projects wherever they are installed in the country. And this policy is there, but unfortunately it is not so friendly like net metering. If the government allows home builders to use their properties to make solar panel, and if they are allowed to sell power of minimum 2 megawatt, the country will immediately, there will be a crash change in the power policy system of the country. We are buyers of power, solar power. Anybody and everybody will start setting up a solar power project if the government guarantees them 6 to 7 years of repayment of the loans that they take from ITCOL or from anybody else. So I feel power, the solar power project, government should definitely plan for it. Then last point before I close is the VAT. Today, the VAT department, VAT law is not being enforced as it should be. VAT means you pay VAT wherever you buy anything or wherever you import anything, and when you sell, you allow the credit. Today, some companies, some sectors are asked to pay VAT on per ton basis. Some are asked to pay VAT on ad valorem. There is a huge confusion, lot of corruption going on, and if the VAT is enforced, reduced to 10%, and every hospital, every clinic, every airline, every restaurant, wherever we buy, every import should pay a uniform tax, VAT, pay maybe 10% also. I feel that the revenue will increase in a big way, or not only on VAT. Once the documentation is there, the income tax also will come in, and the whole economy will be compliant. And lastly, the chartered accountants have, I just have written a paragraph on this chartered accountant right in the beginning. The chartered accountant in our country, they are doing a wonderful job, and I believe that if they are doing the job the way hardworking and honestly, there will be even playing ground fields, there will be he didn't let me do a job in 72, so I am in the business, and I really am gaining a lot because of my chartered accountancy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your insightful thought. Now, because we have some panel discussion, may I now invite Mr. Hikari Kawai. He is the President, Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sir, your thought please on the subject.
Good evening, distinguished guests and participants. Good evening. Today seems a very few holy spot is in this place, so I'm very honored to be invited to this event and have an opportunity to say something. Thank you very much. And first, on behalf of the JBCCI, I congratulate ICAB's 50th anniversary. We congratulate JBCCI is a Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce Industry established in 2004 and now membered by around 270 companies, and the 190 are Bengali and the 60 are Japanese. As you know, Japan and Bangladesh started diplomatic relations immediately after independence. So these 50 years, so Japan is providing the as a developed partner, Japan support Bangladesh for the development. And nowadays, many Japanese companies, mainly RMG or infrastructure, so Japanese companies working in this field. And nowadays, so Japanese companies show interest, new area, like ICT, because Japan has a shortage of the ICT engineer. So ICT, Japan companies show interest. And another interest is last December, Japanese developed economic zone, start operation in Narayanganji, Arai Hazard. So maybe Japanese light engineering or manufacturer may gradually start coming. So in a general circumstance, Japanese company may come more to Bangladesh. That is a general trend or general circumstance. But still, total number of the Japanese company working in Bangladesh is 340. If compared to these Asian and ASEAN countries, say Thailand, now more than 5,000 companies, Japanese companies working in Thailand. Vietnam, 2,000. Indonesia, 1,500. So in Thailand, so Japan started going to the Thailand in 1980s. So Indonesia, Vietnam, 1990s. So still some time difference is there. But for example, Vietnam and Bangladesh, almost like economy size is the same. But 1,500 and 340 is a very big difference. And some new Japanese company come to Bangladesh and they may, I ask question, what is the difficulty point of the Bangladesh? So they may say, so clear and detailed rule and regulation, like a tax, custom duty, import procedure, foreign remittance. These are missing. So, but I may say, so now Bangladesh business situation is coming better. One-stop service is coming, more information is on the web page. But Japanese company, they say, rule is to some extent improved. But field work, like implementation, field work level understanding is missing. So that's why rule is there, but the implementation is a little bit different. So that is like a stress to Japanese companies. Another disadvantage Japanese company often say is the financial information shortage. In Japan, we can find what is this company, what is the financial statement, what is the corporate structure, what is corporate governance. So this is easy to find, but in Bangladesh it's very difficult because so nowadays Japanese companies more concerned about the KYC or customer due diligence. That such kind of information missing is very tough for Japanese company to come to this Bangladesh market. So these matter, so rural regulation and financial information is a very big space to improve. And the chartered accountant, ICAB has a many roles to improve this rural regulation is both information and implementation phase. And financial information disclosure. So this is the area ICAB or chartered account has a great role. So keynote speaker Bijoy-san mentioned same thing. So ICAB is a lot of role to improve the business circumstance. So we hope so ICAB play a big role to improve the situation and business environment, and we hope more Japanese company may come to the Bangladesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for finishing on time. Thank you once again, sharing your thought, and particularly emphasizing on policy and implementation should go along with alignment of implementation policies in the same direction. Now it is our turn to listen to Muhammad Saiful Islam, President MCCI. You know, he is established industries of the country. He has business in shipbuilding, dredging, and nevertheless in footwear industry. He is currently President MCCI. Mr. Islam, please, sir. Your thought on $1 trillion journey of Bangladesh by 2041.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. After the presentation of the two distinguished keynote speaker, there is nothing really I can add up. I should have said Assalamu alaikum, good evening and goodbye. But I cannot do that injustice to the audience. Let's look into the economic size of our country. In 2009, our economic size was $90 billion. And to 2022, it is already $460 billion. That means that it took us almost 37 years to reach up to $90 billion, but it took only 13 years to increase it by $370 billion, which is a great achievement. So first of all, I would like to say that achieving this $1 trillion by 2041, whether it is possible or not, but the way the country had been growing, I believe that it is possible, but unfortunately, we have some heavy headwinds. The headwind which we can see, there is the pandemic, the post-pandemic, and the war between Ukraine and Russia. But there are headwinds, there are undercurrent which we cannot see. That means that it will be a little difficult for us to achieve this $1 trillion economy if we become the victim of the geopolitics and also the local politics. That means that this is going to be our election year, which is very important for us, and these are the undercurrent and this headwind which we can see. But the good thing is that if we look into the silver lining, the silver lining is really long. Why it is like that? During the pandemic, we have seen the supply chain disruption, especially from the world factory, which is of course China, and that business is coming to us. For a sustainable middle-income country which we are getting the status in 2026, to have this sustainable middle-income country, we should not fall into the middle-income trap. In the recent years, we have seen 33 countries, they have graduated from LDC to MIC, but they could not sustain. 21 of the countries, only 12 countries they could sustain. I believe that it is very much achievable for Bangladesh to get into $1 trillion economy by 2041, but to have a sustainable $1 trillion journey, one thing that we should do, that Dutch disease, which we know that we should not fall into that, we should try to diversify our product. That means export basket, still we are dependent on 84% of our export on single item. And what is the responsibility of the private sector? What is the responsibility of the public sector? And what is the responsibility of the professional? The government, to have a sustainable $1 trillion journey, should ensure us enabling environment for business. From the private sector, we should try to play the pivotal role for a sustainable $1 trillion journey. At the same time, the chartered accountants, what I say that they give the real picture of the company. The professional, such as the chartered accountant, by giving a proper balance sheet, books of account, they ensure financial transparency. They ensure the corporate governance, facilitating access to finance, providing taxation advisory services, promoting sustainability. What is sustainability? We know that we cannot sustain if we do not have environment-friendly, or if we do not address the environment, at the same time, if we do not comply with the social compliance. To have economic growth, the professional can help us out in many ways. That means that in a compliant way. The global taxation system is nowadays very much stringent. Again, to have a sustainable growth, we should maintain the integrity with the help of the chartered accountant. I would conclude by saying that, yes, by 2041, if our journey continues like this, we'll be the trillion-dollar economy, and we need the professional. We need the professional services like the chartered accountants. There is a saying that the chartered accountants, the dirty hand of the chartered accountant, the dirty mouth of the chartered accountant, maybe someone doesn't like that, but that gives the transparency, accountability, acceptability throughout the whole world. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I do not want to take much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your concluding remark, particularly expectation of the chartered accountant, and also the highlighting the role of the private sector and expectation for the government, the policy frame provider. Now, it is a turn to Mr. Javed Akhtar, Managing Director and CEO in Unilever Bangladesh, young Chief Executive of a multinational corporation, fast-moving goods. Let's listen his thought on the trillion-dollar journey of Bangladesh from right now, probably 17 years' time. How they think. Thank you.
Thank you. Firstly, congratulations on the 50th anniversary of ICA. For a soap maker to come and talk about trillion-dollar economy is actually a farce, because I live for every day. But I'll try to give you a bit of perspective about what I believe. I think if you've listened to all the speakers, the point on the trillion-dollar economy is not if, it is about when. Because the reality is, and I think all of you are chartered accountants, you know the power of compounding. Because of power of compounding, we will become a trillion-dollar economy. I think it depends on at what rate we'll go. Now, if you look at over the last 3 decades, in the first decades, we've actually doubled our delta GDP growth. The last 2 decades, we've trebled. So if you look at their roadmap, actually, we've been able to really deliver that delta of GDP. Now, if you continue at that rate, you will be able to really go into that trillion-dollar GDP that we're talking about. Now, just for perspective also, there is also the Delta Plan. The Delta Plan 2100 talks about 110 million people that are around this delta. And that is likely to unlock roughly around 1.5% to 2% of GDP. Now, imagine that from what we have proven to what it can unlock, it automatically, that's the potential that we see. Now, let me come to home from an FMCG perspective. If I look at FMCG, and I'm a pure play FMCG player, the roughly per capita consumption of the FMCG that we operate in is $23. Just for comparison, in India, it's $44. Take any country in Southeast Asia, it's beyond $100. That just gives you a perspective what the opportunities are. Now, if you look at a very basic category like detergent powder, we are actually 1/3 of the consumption of Sri Lanka. The per capita consumption is 1/3 of Sri Lanka, 60% of India. That just talks about the unlocking the potential that we have. the way we look at the Bangladesh market, because it's a delta, we divide it by east and west of Podda. And if I look at the FMCG business and my business, 60% of my business is actually on the east of Podda. On the west side, we actually have a bigger opportunity because we know that that's going to unlock as we have greater connectivity, greater exposure. And that's where we believe the unlock actually can come. So from an FMCG perspective, I personally believe as we get into a larger economy and larger trillion economy, we will continue to see huge amount of growth, and that's the potential for us to really tap. And now coming closer to the esteemed chartered accountant, I think everybody talked about it. One of the very important elements is, it is important in the next 20 years we don't trip. And for not tripping us, one of the important elements is governance. I think everybody talked about it. I don't think we are known for our governance, and I think that's where I believe our chartered accountants can play a very big role. Because, and I think Sahib Bhai talked about it very eloquently, but is that you need to hold mirror on, at our face so that we are able to really improve, because I think that's what is required, and that's what can actually take our country to the next level. Second one is around how do you really also make business a force for good? Because if you look at businesses in the next generation will only win if they are sustainable. And sustainability will become a competitive advantage. We do not see it on a lens. We bring out financial reports, but we don't really bring out sustainability reports. But the next norm will be, I know there are 30, 40 companies that bring it out, but the next norm will actually be driving up sustainability in our businesses, because that's going to give the company advantage, and that's going to be the roadmap for a $1 trillion economy. And finally, I think one of the very important elements, and the earlier session as well, there was a really great conversation around the knowledge economy. And for me, the measure of knowledge economy is actually patents and IP registrations. If we don't have patents and IP registration in this country going up, we will not have the knowledge economy, irrespective of the infrastructure that we all build. So I think that's my perspective on the $1 trillion economy. Thank you so much. I know it's a long evening, but all the best. And over to you.
Thank you. Our last panel speaker is today Ms. Maliha M. Kadi. She is a Harvard graduate, MBA. She did her MBA from Harvard and educated in Smith College in computer science and economics. She is already awarded a number of laurels, including she has been recognized as ICT entrepreneur by our Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Ms. Maliha, please.
Thank you. Honorable State Minister, panelists, and ICAB members. Assalamu alaikum. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary, and honored to be here. And I'm glad to see, as an ICT practitioner, that Smart Bangladesh is at the heart of this celebration. I have been working in ICT industry for the last 10 years in Bangladesh, literally selling this smart product to the end users. You know that Shahaj works in transportation. We work in a very non-digital industry, bus, and now Bangladesh Railway as well. I've seen a transformation happen in the last 10 years. I've interacted with international investors, raised multiple rounds of funding. So I get to see their perception on Bangladesh as well from an ICT practitioner's perspective and what is happening on the ground. Truly a transformation has happened towards a digital Bangladesh. Internet proliferation, thousands of government services have gotten digitized, 1,200 startups in the country today. When I started 10 years back, there was a handful of us. Today, there are 1,200 startups, some 200 startups are coming up. Incubation centers, startup fund. As an ICT industry practitioner, if I look back and look at my industry, really like every facets where government as an enabler for an industry and for private sector to flourish, everything has been touched upon. So we have come a long way, and the fact that everybody's talking about Smart Bangladesh as we go towards this $1 trillion economy, it's by itself is very commendable. Now, how do we get there faster? I'll share a few viewpoints as an ICT practitioner. We have to continue keeping our focus on some basics. Internet access. I think Mahtab Bhai talked about access to internet in the mass level. I would go and highlight the fact that cost of internet is actually very high in our country compared to other countries. And that has to be addressed for the mass level to really adapt a smart economy. Like cost of internet, adaptation of digital services have come a very long way. We see proliferations of services that we sell online, we sell tickets, there are many other startups selling many things. What can we do to make it go even faster? Make it compulsory. As we have a vision of becoming a cashless and paperless Bangladesh, how do we get there faster? Start making some services digital only. For example, utility bill payments. Why does it have to be done physically through cash and any of that? That can just become compulsory digital. That will really move the Apamor Jonashadharan, the masses, towards adapting digitization. We talk about ease of doing business, right? Which is very important, and it's our dream to really, our government's dream to really make it easier. How do we get there? Make government servants adapt digitization more than anybody else in the country. Because as they use more and more digital services, we worked in creating Corona Tracer app with Bangladesh government, all done digitally with 2 ministries and in a very short period of time. It happened very nicely, very efficiently. I think we are at a point where government's workflow can be completely digitized. For example, tender process, as you're going through approvals, files are moving here and there, all of that can become digital. As that becomes digital, efficiency will greatly be increased, and a lot of leakages will also be addressed. As accountants, I will encourage and I will request you to tell your clients to adapt digital software more and more for efficiency and for their own good for preventing leakage. The other thing, we all talked about education and skill development and all. I would go as far to say that we need to overhaul our education system. Not just Bangladesh, all over Asian countries, there is a tendency of Mukhastha Vidya, memorization-based curriculum. That we need to get out of it, because as we go towards 4IR and all, the pace of things is moving so fast. People need to be able to critically think and think quick how to adapt to a new situation. And that's called learning how to learn. So I think adapting digitization in our classrooms, giving digital books to the children, internet access to at the must, giving digital books. Overall, call it government, call it consumers, call it our students, people need to start using digital services on a daily basis. And how do we get there? Give them digital books. Make it compulsory. Some services will become digital only. I think we have come a long way. We are in a very strong position today as a country, given the proliferation of digital payments, online penetration, that we can take this kind of big leaps as we think of our Vision 2041 of a smart Bangladesh in a $1 trillion economy. So to summarize, I would say that keeping our focus on making internet more accessible and affordable to the masses, making some services digital only as we go towards a cashless and paperless Bangladesh, investing in education and overhauling education system to be more analytical, critical thinking based, foreign collaboration, bringing in perhaps foreign teachers. These initiatives would really help us achieve our vision of 2041 towards a smart and $1 trillion economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful summarization. I think I don't want to add more, but again go back to what Bijoy just he pointed out how the economy need to be diversified, because from 465 plus minus GDP size going to $1 trillion within it is said that 7 years time, or somebody said less than 10 years time, then it is we needed furthermore lot of other dissection of the economy, because now currently roughly 35% is come from the industry. How see from 35% of GDP of 465, even if it make a continuous at that level or even grow to 40%, what new addition to the new industrial phases, what Bijoy was indicating, that new potential area. We have many of the success story, what the Asian country, what we have learned in 1980s, that new industries developing nation like Korea and Taiwan and those other countries. And we can certainly and with the help of or with the technological advancement, certainly it is a new area, new learning. As Malia was saying, we have to learn how to learn, and certainly our whole the focus or total what the government has given the vision, probably for implementation stage when translating to real by the private sector, particularly in economic size, a lot of other planning and action-oriented planning is needed. So saying so, let's conclude this session. I will pass the microphone to our today's Master of the Student, Mr. Shakur. Please take over before allowing our Vice President to give thank you for this session. Please conduct the crest handing over ceremony. We will listen to our chief guest and the special guest in the last session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to hand over memento to our keynote speaker. I would like to request the Honorable President, ICAB, Mr. Muhammad Munir-e-Zaman, FCA, to hand over a memento to keynote speaker, Mr. Nasir Ejaz Bijoy, President, FICCI. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nasir Ejaz Bijoy, President, FICCI, is receiving a memento from the President, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, ICAB, Mr. Muhammad Munir-e-Zaman, FCA. And this is our pleasure, our honorable chief guest for the third session, Honorable Deputy Minister, Ministry of Planning, Dr. Shamsul Alam. He is with us. Thank you, sir, for joining us the second session as well. Now, may I request Mr. Ali Hussain Akbar Ali, FCA, Chairman, BSRM, to receive a memento from the chief guest of closing session, and Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Planning, Government of Bangladesh. May I now request the panel speakers. Among the panel speakers, firstly I would like to request Mr. Hikari Kawai, the Honorable President, Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hikari Kawai, the President, Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now may I request Mr. Muhammad Saiful Islam, Honorable President, MCCI, to receive a memento from the Honorable Chief Guest. Closing and Technical Session 3, Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Planning, Government of Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request Mr. Javed Akhtar, Managing Director and CEO, Unilever Bangladesh Limited, to receive a memento. Ladies and gentlemen, now may I request Madam Maliha M. Kadir, Founder Shahad, to receive a memento from the Honorable Deputy Minister, Minister of Planning, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Dr. Shamsul Alam. Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, now may I request Mr. Muhammad Johar Islam, FCA, Vice President, Technical and Regulatory Affairs, ICAB, to convey his vote of thanks.
Respected Chief Guest, Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Planning, Government People's Republic of Bangladesh, respected Session Chairman, Mr. Mohammad Humayun Kabir, FCA Council Member and First President ICB and Chairman Organizing Committee, learned keynote paper presenter, Mr. Nasir Ejaz Bijoy, President FICCI, learned keynote paper presenter, Mr. Ali Hussain Akbar Ali, FCA Chairman BSRM, learned panel discussant, Mr. Hikari Kawai, President Japan Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Muhammad Saiful Islam, President, MCCI, Mr. Javed Akhtar, Managing Director and CEO, New River Bangladesh Limited, Ms. Malia M. Kadir, Founder, Shows. Fellow members of my beloved institute, distinguished guests, past presidents, council colleagues, Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to all of you. It is my great pleasure to express my sincere thanks to all of you for participating at today's Golden Jubilee Conference on Chartered Accountants' Role in Achieving Smart Bangladesh by 2041. This conference undoubtedly was insightful for all of us. The second session, Smart Bangladesh Achieving $1 trillion plus economy, highlighted the importance of economic growth and development in realizing the vision of a smart Bangladesh. We learned about the role of technology, innovation, and investment in creating a $1 trillion economy and the potential benefits that it could bring to the country. I hope that we can contribute to work hand to hand to materialize the dream of a smart Bangladesh as well as to build the economy of the country. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed speakers who shared their valuable insights and experiences with us on a smart Bangladesh. Achieving a $1 trillion plus economy, your contribution in enriching our understanding of the subject and in inspiring us to work towards achieving a smart Bangladesh is highly appreciated. I would also like to extend my appreciation and gratitude to the organization of this important and time-demanding conference for their efforts in making the event a success. In conclusion, I would like to thank all of you for participating, fashion hearing, and engagement in the conference by sacrificing their valuable busy time. Your presence and active participation have made this event a success. Once again, I extend my heartfelt warm thanks to all of you, and I wish all the very best in future smart Bangladesh.
That's our technical session 2. Now may I request our honorable chief guest, special guest president, to stay in the dais, and may I request the keynote paper presenter and the panel discussion of third session kindly join us in the dais. Thank you.